Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount our spooky selection of holiday classics. So, light the jack-o'-lanterns, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. Dollywood's Mystery Mine. In the mystery mine. Tried to go as low as I could with that. All right. It's just me, folks. Dragon is off at the Baltimore Comic-Con, and he will be returning next week. We will be getting a trip report from him about that. And in the meanwhile, I had a trip that was so disastrous, y'all don't even want to know. Like, you literally don't want to know. I scheduled it with, I scheduled to have someone go over it with me, and then even that fell apart because of the timing. So, yeah, instead we're going to do this. I'm going to talk about by far my favorite thing from the Dollywood trip. And this is actually the thing that put Dollywood on the map for me to begin with all those years ago when they opened. Sing it with me. The mystery mine. I'm going to do that every time I say it. No, I'm not. So this was a Gerstlauer Eurofighter that was installed at Dollywood in the good year of 2007. And it's an indoor dark ride for the most part, with some crappy outdoor elements in the middle and an actually pretty good outdoor finale, which is weird because it's like the outdoor coaster tracks in the middle are like, oh God, this thing's super jank. And then once you get to the finale, you're like, wait, holy crap, that was a graceful inversion. How'd that happen? It's weird that it's the same coaster. But I digress. We're not here to talk too much about the coaster, folks. We're here to talk about the backstory, which I feel like is one of the most under the radar, brilliant backstories in all of theme parkdom. I truly think that the story of Mystery Mine is up there with like the likes of something like Big Thunder Mountain. It's not like a Pirates or a Haunted Mansion. There's not like a ton of details and intricate, like every little thing is, has a mythology to it. I liken it to Big Thunder Mountain because it's the type of attraction that you can kind of use your imagination with. The general conceit of Mystery Mine, just the general premise, is that, of course, it is a bad omen for a canary to fly inside a coal mine. And Mystery Mine just takes that idea to the next level. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a photo tour of what it's like to go up into Mystery Mine. Unfortunately, I'm using my own photos, and there's a couple pictures that I just did not get. I didn't get a picture of the animatronic vulture, which I now feel really stupid about because he was right there. I could have gotten him at any point. But you know what? Look, there's a vulture on the moon, thanks to Jacob Wilde. There's a vulture on the moon. So you got to pretend there's just a talking vulture outside. He doesn't really matter all that much to the plot anyways, if I'm being honest. So I just want to paint the picture for you. You're at Dollywood. Maybe for the first time. You're hyped. And this is actually the picture that I experienced. You're rope dropping Fire Chaser Express because it's the most popular ride in the park because Lightning Rod's closed. I digress. And that Fire Chaser is going to get a very long line later on in the day. You also know it's one of the few rides that your grandma can ride with you. So you want to get that out. But on your way, as you pass through the lumberjack area of the park, which I'm blanking on. I'm sorry. Timber Canyon, I think is the name. As you're passing through Timber Canyon, you're passing Thunderhead, you're passing the drop line, you come upon this Tower of Terror ass building that looks janky. It looks like it looks larger than life. Like, this picture doesn't even do it justice. This is the thing that I really truly love about Mystery Mine, is just how it towers over the surrounding area. It really looms over the surrounding area. And just that building alone, like, it inspires so much thought, so much imagination of like what could possibly be in there. And what I like about the ride, as we'll get into, is it's not even really about what's in there. It's more about just kind of like what happens in the experience, and the experience is bananas. So we'll get into it. So you're walking along, and this is a shot at night, by the way, which just proves that it's even more eerie at night. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and take you on a tour through the queue. Now I'm going to have to point out, of course, that vulture is he's not even in the queue. He's just kind of like chilling on the walkway. And I've got to be honest with you, the vulture doesn't really add a ton to the ride, oddly enough. Like, he doesn't really warn you about the canary in the coal mine thing from what I've seen. I don't know if I stood and saw his whole cycle, his whole show. I honestly think he's more there just as kind of like something for the kids who are too scared to go on it to enjoy, while the older kids do the ride. I don't know. He's the one element of the ride where I don't really think he fits with the rest of the ride. But what I do think fits really well, and this is a detail that not a lot of people notice at all, and I really wish I got a picture of this too, is right on the side of the vulture, you have an empty bird cage in a cave. Now, it's a very small cave. It's literally just kind of like a hole in the rock work, but it's literally the first omen. Like, before you even get into the queue, it's the first omen. Like, okay, like, there are canaries in the mine. Like, that is something that is going down. And man, I bet you 9 times out of 10 people don't even pick up on that. Like, people just walk right past the fact that, like, even before you get on the ride or get anywhere close to the line, you're already being warned. Like, okay, look, canary, mine, bad luck. Okay, we have Honeybee there. Hi, Honeybee. This is the closest that we're going to get to a Dollywood trip report, so I hope you enjoy it. All right, so you are walking up towards Mystery Mine. You enter the queue, and I will go through. So let's take a look at some of the signage that this is just on the bottom story of the queue, basically where all the switchbacks are. And I do like that. Once again, it's like visually we're seeing the tail kind of like weave its way into the attraction. So I'm just going to go ahead and read this. Don't whistle in the mystery mine, or danger you will meet. And through your toes and moan and whine, and though your toes may moan and whine, leave your boots upon your feet. And if a bird should fly inside, you best get out in haste, or find a place where you can hide, as the mine is laid to waste. So listen, boys, to all these rules, and believe me when I say, don't whistle in the mystery mine, and you'll survive the day. Okay, now I will admit the whistling factor, I wish that was I wish there was a whistling sound effect or something. Like, I feel like that's something that could have very easily been incorporated, but alas, I don't really think the whistling is really a factor outside of just the ominous warnings. But the birds are very much a factor, as we'll see. And so, you go through the queue, you're seeing the signage, you're seeing some newspaper reports. It almost kind of reminds me of a very, very light version of how the Temple of the Forbidden Eye sets up that people have gone into this place and they've gone missing in the process. And also, one thing I do want to point out, I talked about this a lot in my written trip report in Dollywood. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this element of the park, but the thing that I love the most about Dollywood is that it does have individual areas to it, like Timber Canyon, Jukebox Junction, etc., etc. Wilderness Pass, I think, is one of them. But what I love about it is that I feel like, in spite of the individual sections, all the themes come together and are in all of the sections. So, for example, in Tennessee Tornado, you're still working for a mining company. In Fire Chaser Express, you are you're fighting a fire, and then there's also firefighter imagery and Blazing Fury, and also all throughout the park. The lumberjack imagery is the same way. We see a lot of mine stuff, we see a lot of lumberjack stuff. Butterflies, of course, are like basically the hidden Mickey of Dollywood, as far as I'm concerned. So the park just does a beautiful job of like weaving together all these motifs. And it honestly feels a lot more naturalistic than an average current day Disney park where all the IPs are kind of segregated from each other. So I really, really love that about Dollywood. So, anyways, as you're going up, you're kind of, you go up this long ramp, and you're just kind of like taking in the situation, taking in the view. I love this. I didn't even notice this until like one of my last rides. The fact that like there's this giant, like, I don't even know what this is supposed to be, like a chain of some kind, that's just kind of like fallen off of the mine onto the rockwork below, very much setting the scene, setting the story that what is going down in this mine might not be all that it's cracked up to be. I love that a lot. Okay, and so from this point forward, we get into the actual station, and I'm like I said, I don't really want to. We need Tiki poetry readings. Thank you, Elizabeth May. So at this point, I'm just going to kind of describe the ride. So actually, let me. I can make this picture bigger. Let me do that. I can do things. All right, there we go. Because like I said, I just want to be safe with copyright right now, since I am monetized. So I don't necessarily want to pull from video footage or pull from pictures. I just want to weave you a tale. So you're in the boarding area. You're in the station. There's about 20 minutes worth of switchbacks to go before you board your mine cart. And I want to point out that there are, and I mean, it's not really surprising, but there are a copious amount of birds even just in the station. There's a bird cage that's right above the cast members operating table. There's a big ass like stuffed crow that's just staring you in the face in the corner of the room. And then I believe, in addition to the crow, there's also a canary in a bird cage, kind of like on the same wall as the crow. And all this, and you're still getting signs like, hey, by the way, might be a bad idea if there's birds in the mine, just saying. And that's what I love about this ride, like in a nutshell, is the fact that, like, for those who are paying attention to the bird aesthetic and the bird motif, like, it really does get you hyped. It really does kind of like put that sort of imagination in your head, like Big Thunder Mountain does, of like, okay, like, we're not supposed to be on this mountain, but we're going on this mountain and bad shit's gonna go down. You feel the same way with Mystery Mine. You really feel like it's like, all right, like this mine is obviously ignoring the whole canary in the coal mine rumor in spite of the copious warnings. Let's see what happens. All right, so you go onto your minecart. You're facing down the drop, and the drop is very much it's very similar to, if anyone's ever been on Elizabeth May. Elizabeth, what are you doing? Don't you have the United Kingdom to run? Oh boy. Hey there, that guy. I'm doing something slightly different. I'm trying to regale y'all with some Dollywood facts, because we thought that this ride would be an interesting thing to talk about for Halloween. Yes, theme park priest, Mystery Mine is indeed awesome. You tell him. Theme park priest, do you like the buildup of the canary and the coal mine thing as much as I do? Because that's what I was just talking about. I was just kind of describing how, like, even before you get into the queue, there's like little subtle hints of like, okay, there's birds and mines here, guys. Like that, this isn't good. And then by the time you get to the station, it's like, okay, like obviously the signs are warning us with the birds, but there are copious birds, and this is not going to end well. I love that a lot. So, anyways, you board your vehicle. If you're lucky enough, you'll get the first row, but it doesn't really matter. But the first row does have a better view. And you go down the drop, and the first drop and coaster section is very similar to like that little coaster section at the start of Escape from Gringotts in a way. And what kind of gets me about this little section right here is that you go through a couple like really banked S-bends. And I kid you not, the first couple times I rode it, it kind of threw me off because I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Is there some sort of like EMV movement going on in this vehicle? Which is like honestly really stupid in retrospect. It literally is just like banked turns. But the banked turns, like in the dark, like what I like about it is it really just kind of like sets you off on the right foot of like, of like, okay, like this is weird movement, like right off the bat, like this cart is not moving in a natural direction. So anyways, you turn the corner, and then I don't know, Theme Park Priest, you know the thing that you dive down? It's like some sort of like rolling thing that's about to crush you. I don't know the exact terminology of it. I don't think it's an axe. I think it's like, I don't know. It's some sort of like rolling piece of machinery that's going to crush you. And then you just do a quick dive under it. Oh, and I should also mention, by the way, that while all this is happening, copious birds just fucking everywhere. Everywhere. It's like, okay, guys. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, that's fine. But you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I love that it's like, from the very get-go, it's like, birds. We got more birds than Hitchcock, man. And so then you go up the first lift, which is cool. I wish that there was maybe like an element of like a whistling sound effect or something in here just to tie back into the no whistling in the Mystery Mine thing. But it's still cool. It's still, of course, those Gerstlauer vertical lifts, always intense. I think the lift on Rip Ride Rocket is a lot more intense, if I'm being honest, but that's probably because it's a lot taller. Anyways, the cool thing about this lift is that, you're literally in the mine shaft of the mine. And so you're looking up into the daylight above, or, if it's nighttime, it's actually a pretty cool night ride because it's cool to emerge from, wait till the second one. Yeah. Because you pretty much emerge at night. You emerge, from the darkness into the nighttime. And so that's a whole different experience. And I did it at at sunset once, and that's also cool. No matter what, it is kind of cool to go to crest over that mine shaft. And then we can pretty much yada yada over the coaster parts, because let's face it, the coaster parts are what give this ride a bad reputation. I don't hate them by any means. Like, I don't think they're nearly as bad as something like a Vekoma SLC or Boomerang, like not even in the same league. But yeah, you're going to get your head banged every once in a while if you're not really bracing for it. I'm not going to lie. It's not totally pleasant. And also I don't really like the fact that section, there's really like no rhyme or reason to it being there. I actually just made a Planet of the Apes ride that was very similar to reject roller coasters, embrace birds. This Planet of the Apes ride that I designed is very similar to Mystery Mind. It's also a Gerstlauer Eurofighter. I think the thing that I did that I really appreciate is the fact that I was able to make that coaster part in the middle make more sense thematically, because it's like the apes built it, and it's like very sketchy. So I think Mystery Mind lacks that. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't like if they made it's smooth, but it's not smooth, but it's not super jerky. Yeah, I mean, I think it gets overhated. I think my bigger problem with it is the fact that it just kind of meanders and it's kind of pointless. like really it just exists to kind of pad out the actual coaster sections of the ride, I think. I think if they got rid of the over the shoulder restraints, it would definitely help. But I don't know. I still think that coaster section is just kind of boring. So I don't really know what to do. But you know what? Screw it, because we go back into the mine, and here's where stuff gets real. So theme park priest, I assume you know of that canary cage right at the start of the final lift with the canary that just freaking flips over dead. As soon how much back pain is there in not even comparable at all. Matterhorn bobsled wrecks my back. And this I was able to pretty much marathon no problem. So I wouldn't worry about that. It's honestly more the head banging with the over the shoulder restraints. That's like the worst part. But like I said, in that regard, it's not nearly as bad as something like a Vekoma SLC, for example. So, but anyway, so I just love the fact that like as soon as you get into this final lift, there's a bird in a cage that just straight up dies. And then you go up this impossibly tall looking lift that's probably a lot taller and more intimidating than it actually is just because it's indoors. And now, yeah, theme park priest, I'm here to point them out to you. That's why I'm doing this video, because I do think the canary thing is very relevant to the overall plot. So as you're going up, like they're hard to see, but it looks like you're being encircled by crows. They're pretty much just like they're not even animatronics. They're pretty much just stuffed crows, kind of painted to the wall, or not painted, but kind of plastered to the wall. And how I read this scene is that the crows are pissed, essentially. Like the canary has died in the cage, in the mine. Crows are pissed as you're ascending towards the highest point. And then, oh my God, we get the great finale where we go over the top of the drop. We're like about to go over that 90-degree drop downwards, but not before we come face to face with some explosives. And if you thought that finale on Fire Chaser was explosive, you haven't seen anything. I'm going to say, for my money, the explosion on Mystery Mine is like the most in your face, like maybe Jaws the Ride probably had more impressive pyrotechnics, because I heard the pyrotechnics on Jaws the Ride were absolutely insane. But the pyrotechnics on this, I mean, first of all, unlike something like Big Thunder Mountain, I never got a ride where the pyrotechnics weren't in full force. Like they were always on, always blasting. I mean, and of course I read the story as like that, the explosion going off is kind of like the ultimate culmination of you testing fate and venturing further and further into the mine and ignoring all these warning signs of the canaries. That's really what I read it as. So yeah, that explosion happens, you plummet down the drop, and then this is the thing that really caught me off guard, and it still catches me off guard. The fact that those final two inversions, the zero G roll and then the dive loop, they're graceful as hell, man. They're super fun. And those are two of my favorite types of inversions. So, I mean, that counts for something. But I got to admit, after that middle coaster section, I was just like, oh, these inversions are going to be freaking miserable, man. And they're genuinely not. Like, they are genuinely, like, really smooth and, and not forceful, but graceful. You just really just glide over them, that dive loop gives you a little bit of hang time. So yeah, as a coaster enthusiast, it's a pretty damn solid end of the ride. Now, I do wish that there was a little bit more of a PS at the end. I wish there was a little bit of a, of a little bit of a wrap up of the story. Maybe have the vulture like on the brake run or something. I don't know, because as it stands now, it's a great ending, but it's also a little bit abrupt. But what you do leave with, and I'm sure this is a detail that nobody picks up on or notices, and I'm going to highlight now. One second. you leave with this. This is one of the last things you see as you're coming out of the exit. And this is actually currently my avatar on WDW Magic. And what I love about this is that it really just illustrates, just the danger of the mine and how oppressive it is. And I don't know, like this really got to me. Like seeing this sign, for some reason, it just really tied the whole experience all together. Like it's certainly not the greatest, like it's not a cinematic ending by any means, but it is very much like, oh wow, like okay, like there are very much consequences for these miners, and in this guy's case, it very much is a mental consequence. He's going through like the Al Pacino insomnia thing of like not being able to distinguish daylight from nighttime. And I don't know, there's just something very ominous and very just almost chilling about this sign as like one of the last things you see. And it really is a stark reminder like that, yeah, this mine is it's not for the faint of hearts. And so yeah, I mean, like I said, if I was designing the ride, I'd maybe or designing a refurb or whatever, I would probably have the vulture on the brake run giving a little bit of a PS about like, yeah, I told you so. You shouldn't have gone in that mine. Let alone that get trapped in a mine. Yeah, for sure. And my great okay, what was it? My great grandfather on my father's side was actually a coal miner who did die in a cave in. So I guess that theme of being trapped in a mine does run through my family, and that might be one of the reasons why I find it so effective. But anyways, guys, that's about all I got for Mystery Mine. I hope you found this just a little bit illuminating. My goal for this video was very much just to kind of highlight that Mystery Mine is much more than just a corny dark ride with some rough coaster sections. Like I truly think that from top to bottom, like from the second that you start walking towards it and it's just looming over everything, um all the way up until when you get off and see that sign. I mean, like it's not telling a complete story, but it's very much building up a mythology. And Theme Park Priest, I would love to break down Blazing Fury. I really would. Maybe Doug and I will do that sometime in the future. Blazing Fury is a fantastic ride. It really is. So, all right, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I really hope I accomplished my mission of highlighting all the canary in a coal mine elements of Mystery Mine that I think really has a profound effect on, like, if you're looking for the birds and if you're looking for that story, it is there, and I really think it elevates the attraction to something special. Um, Honeybee says that was nice. Now I know the ride has a shit ton of birds. Yeah, indeed it does. Indeed it does. All right, so big thanks to Elizabeth May / Honeybee, that guy, and Theme Park Priest. I honestly wasn't expecting anyone to show up for this because I got the thumbnail for it like 15 minutes ago. Thank you, Jacob. I very much appreciate it. So to date the podcast, I'm about to go see Dune. And it's driving Dragon crazy that I'm going to be seeing it in Dolby Atmos on a giant screen, even though it's on HBO Max. And I'm like, you know what, buddy? It's a cinematic movie. I'm not even that big of a Dune fan, but I'm a fan of the cinematic experience. So that's going to be my evening. So I hope y'all have a good one. We'll be back with more Haunted Holiday Hijinks later, and Dragon will kill me if I don't do the proper outro. So I'm going to do that. All right, folks, that's the end of tonight's spooky selection, and our spirits grow weary. But they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks. Mwahahaha! Mwahahaha! One more time, sing it. in the mystery mine.